Sprinkle this powder mix and worms will explode in your garden bed. Your soil can be alive again in just a few weeks. And honestly, it won't require back-breaking work, endless composting or any fancy fertilizers. What if you could simply sprinkle a mix across your raised bed, water it in, and then watch as worms returned in droves, tunneling through soft, dark earth that almost, well, seems to breathe. Gardeners everywhere are quietly swearing by this method, and today I'll show you exactly how it works, why it works, and, how you can make it happen in your own backyard. This is not another quick-fix gimmick or miracle potion. It's a science-backed approach that harnesses 3 humble powders to reawaken microbial life in your soil, and once those microbes wake up, the worms will follow. If your raised beds started rich and vibrant but now look dry, crusty and lifeless, you're not alone. Raised beds lose vitality faster than in-ground gardens. They dry out more quickly because they lack the natural insulation of surrounding soil. Water drains through them rapidly, often carrying away nutrients. And unlike ground soil that constantly benefits from decaying roots, falling leaves and microbial traffic, raised beds often become stagnant. The result is soil that looks fine at first glance but feels dusty, crumbly and, well, devoid of life. Worms disappear because their real food source, microbial activity, is gone. This is the part many gardeners misunderstand. Worms don't migrate to your garden for kitchen scraps or banana peels. They seek thriving microbial colonies because bacteria and fungi are their actual diet. Without those colonies, worms leave, no matter how much compost you bury. Once I stopped thinking about feeding plants directly and focused on feeding soil life, everything changed. Worms came flooding back into my raised beds after I started using a simple mix of 3 dry powders: rock dust, clay powder, and dried molasses. Each powder has a specific role. Rock dust provides the missing minerals that microbes crave. Clay helps lock in water and nutrients while stabilizing pH. Dried molasses offers a slow-release sugar source that microbes devour like fuel. Together, they create what I call a microbial ignition system. Instead of trying to fix soil from the outside, this blend wakes up the biology already present, and that biology rebuilds the soil naturally. For a standard raised bed measuring 4 by 8 feet, I use 2 cups of basalt rock dust, 2 cups of clay powder, such as bentonite or red clay, and 2 cups of dried molasses. Mix these 3 powders together in a small bucket before applying them to the bed. The application process is simple but powerful. First, make sure your soil is slightly moist. If it is bone dry, water it lightly the day before so it can absorb. Sprinkle the powder blend evenly over the surface of the soil. Think of it like seasoning food, steady and consistent, not heavy or clumped. Once sprinkled, water the bed thoroughly with about 2 gallons of clean water for each 4 by 8 bed. This gentle soak helps the powders settle into the topsoil and activates microbial growth without washing them away. The first changes are almost immediate. Within 48 hours, the soil will begin to smell different, more earthy, rich and alive. You may notice that the top layer darkens and begins to hold moisture instead of repelling it. In some cases, thin strands of fungal growth may appear across the surface like fine white webs. These are signs of microbial activity reawakening. By the end of the second week, you'll feel a difference when you press your hand into the soil. It becomes more elastic, less powdery, and water begins to soak in instead of running off. Digging gently with your fingers may reveal small tunnels and worm castings near the roots of your plants. These castings are proof that worms are returning and actively feeding. By the 3rd or 4th week, the transformation becomes undeniable. Soil structure improves visibly, plants look more vibrant, and the bed retains water longer even during dry spells. At this stage, it's common to find baby worms in the top layers of soil, clear evidence that the environment is healthy enough for reproduction. Unlike liquid fertilizers that provide a temporary nutrient boost and then wash away, this powder blend builds a true soil ecosystem. Microbes cycle nutrients naturally, ensuring that plants get what they need when they need it. Instead of force-feeding your crops, you're empowering the soil to feed itself and sustain life. There's also no risk of overdoing it. Because the ingredients are dry, stable and natural, they won't burn roots or create salt buildup. They won't attract pests or cause nutrient imbalances. Most importantly, you only need to apply the blend once or twice per growing season. From there, the soil biology maintains itself and even improves with each application. Rock dust, particularly basalt or glacial dust, is rich in trace minerals modern soils often lack. These minerals don't directly feed plants but act as long-term food for microbes. They also help build humus, the sponge-like soil structure that retains moisture and air, essential conditions for worms. Clay powder, when used sparingly, is one of the most underrated soil builders. It can hold water up to 10 times its weight, preventing raised beds from drying out too quickly. Clay binds with organic matter, slows nutrient leaching and buffers sudden pH shifts. The calcium and iron it contains are especially attractive to worms, drawing them back into the bed once the microbial life returns. Dried molasses might be the most surprising ingredient. It is essentially a dry sugar source, clean and shelf-stable without the stickiness or fermentation of liquid sweeteners. Soil microbes metabolize it almost instantly, sparking an explosion of growth. Within days, you'll notice the soil surface becoming darker, spongier, and sometimes dusted with a light fungal bloom, a sure sign that microbial colonies are expanding. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity and staying power. With just one application, you aren't simply adding nutrients, you're actually activating the entire soil food web. Once the microbes are thriving, they multiply, cycle nutrients and create an environment worms just can't resist. This leads to richer soil, stronger plants and, well, consistent moisture retention season after season. You can still add mulch compost or cover crops on top if you like, but now, instead of sitting dormant, those materials will be processed much more efficiently by the revitalized biology beneath. What was once a lifeless bed quickly becomes a self-sustaining ecosystem. If your raised beds feel like they're flatlining no matter how much effort you put in, it's probably time to stop working harder and start working smarter. This simple powder mix, rock dust, clay powder and dried molasses, may honestly be the most effective, low-effort, high-impact method you'll ever try. Sprinkle it once, water it in, and let biology take over. Here at Timeless Crops Haven, we believe the best gardening solutions are the ones that last, that make your life easier while restoring balance to your soil. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with fellow gardeners. Together, let's bring life back to the soil and let the worms do the work.